Well, it looks like 2024 is going to have a rather bittersweet end for not just for a lot of people, but also for like a lot of well-known companies as well. And I'm not just talking about the movie industry. I'm also talking about like the game industry as well. We have a lot of video game projects being canceled left and right, like Conquered. And I believe Ubisoft canceled another one of their projects. I forgot the name of it already, but that's beside the point. What I want to talk about in this video for tonight is that if you guys have seen the new Snow White trailer for Disney with Rachel Zegler, well, if you could take a look at this little this picture over here, you could definitely tell something's definitely very wrong. So this is an article that comes out of ScreenRant.com. This was published one day ago by Adrian Tyler, and it basically talks about the biggest issues that the Snow White trailer has, and also the live action Snow White movie as a whole. So it says here that 2025 will bring yet another Disney live action remake with Snow White, which has already been plagued by controversy, and the latest trailer only highlights the biggest problem of this adaptation. Disney continues to ride the wave of the live action trend, taking some of its most popular and beloved anime classics and giving them this very piss poor treatment, I may add. Despite having more misses than hits with these remakes so far, the studio still has various live action remakes coming up. Among them is Snow White, which is a reimagining of the studio's very first animated Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. Well, unfortunately, the trailer was not taken very well. People just like massively disliked it left and right, and very much deservedly so. It didn't really help the fact that Rachel Zegler has this very bad, very narcissistic attitude and ego, and it really did not help her image for this remake at all. And on top of it, too, she actually fucking mocked at the character from the animated classic. Like, and she even accused the prince of fucking stalking Snow White. Like, Rachel Zegler, what the hell? That's not how the movie was portrayed originally, you idiot. Anyway, moving on. So, directed by Mark Webb, Snow White takes the same story as a 1937 movie, but with some unwanted changes to also appeal to new generations. Snow White, then, is the story of the title princess, played by the narcissistic Rachel Zegler, who, after her father's death, lives with her evil stepmother, simply known as the Evil Queen, played by Gal Gadot. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but that's beside the point. When the latter tries to destroy her, Snow White flees to the woods, where she meets seven dwarves who take her in. Snow White's marketing campaign has already begun, and a full trailer has been released, but it only makes the movie's biggest problem even worse. And we're going to get into that right now, actually. So, Rachel Zegler's Snow White costume looks like absolute shit. I'm just going to get that out there right now, okay? Look, I'm all in for like live action adaptations of certain like classic animated movies and even video games. I mean, if you remember the Sonic movie that came out, you could definitely tell that Paramount and Sega put a lot of love into the first Sonic movie, which then allowed them to make a second and third movie that's supposed to come out this Christmas, which I know is going to do remarkably well. Anyway, let's get back to the article here. When it comes to Disney's recent remakes, the term live action has been taken lightly. Well, and also rather dirtily, I would say, and can be debated, as most of these movies have heavy CGI work. Such is the case for Snow White, in which the dwarves have a lot of CGI to make them look as they should. Well, I mean, look, I'll give a little credit here. You know, great job with the CGI, but the dwarves still look like shit. And I can't even tell who's who. Like who's Doc, who's Sneezy, who's Sleepy, who's Dopey, who's Grumpy. They all look almost the same. This caused a lot of controversy as Disney only cast one actor with dwarfism, and the rest of the dwarves are played by actors without dwarfism, thus using CGI to give them the desired appearance. On top of that, the CGI isn't exactly the best, and they end up not looking human. Rachel Zegler is a very terrible person, no doubt. I don't know what really got into her wanting to be Snow White, but the fact that she fucking disrespected the original character was like the tip of the iceberg that really caused all this damage to Disney, and they are losing a lot more money now because of all this. And as much as I really hate having to say this, I don't really think that Disney is going to last another year at this point going forward, because their reputation has been completely tarnished. And the fact that Bob Iger is also such an idiot, doesn't realize that his actions have consequences. It's rather suffice to say that Disney's going down a very dark path, and eventually they'll be dug in their grave. According to the same article that I pulled up here, it also states that the CGI dwarves are not the only problem caused by the CGI in Snow White. But it also turns out that the settings, well, especially the force, are also CGI, and it made the trailer look like crap. Snow White seems to be set in a world that is way too fantasy looking, that Disney wants to sell as realistic, quote unquote, as it's a live action remake. But even the smallest details, like the leaves on the trees and the grass, look very unnatural. I actually did manage to get a small glimpse of the trailer myself, and it definitely looks really bad. As a matter of fact, well, actually, let's not watch that. I'm not really in the mood for it. Snow White has clashing visuals and doesn't quite fit the live action label. Surely the animals are supposed to do things that animals wouldn't do, such as help Snow White clean the dwarves' home and more. So they had to have a lot of CGI work done, but they look too cartoonish with a photorealistic look. Two very different styles that really don't go well together. Well, a lot of people would agree with that. Snow White has clashing visuals and doesn't quite fit the live action label. But the big problem is that they make the movie too hard. They make the movie hard to sell to viewers. Well, honestly, I just don't really see that happening. How can this movie overcome its CGI problems? Well, the many controversies Snow White has already gone through and the excessive CGI shown in the trailers already give the movie some huge different challenges to overcome, but it can still find success. Well, given how stupid and stubborn Disney is, I highly doubt that. Snow White's biggest strength can be its story, with elements from the anime classic, new additions, and maybe even some details from the original tale. The changes made to the animated movie can end up being greatly beneficial to Snow White, giving the tale some freshness and fixing some of the character's most problematic details and traits. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop with Sonic right now because there's some other things I really would need to point out. The one thing that I'm really hoping that this movie doesn't end up having is a movie theater fight that actually occurred with the Little Mermaid that we got last year featuring Holly Bailey as Ariel. And needless to say, it's stuff like that. When you have things like this happen to such movies, it really leaves a very bad mark for the movie, and it also really destroyed Disney's reputation even more when that actually happened. Not to mention the fact that, well, it also put a huge strain on Holly Bailey's career. So this is just very overwhelming. And I really don't see myself supporting a corporation that is not only known to be greedy and racist, but to also be very stubborn with its ways and to be very narcissistic on its own. And if Disney's not willing to change their ways, I have no means to support it going forward down the road, or to even tolerate this kind of BS that they're spitting out in our faces, especially with all the political correctness bullshit going on. If this was me asking Nintendo to give Link a wheelchair and make him lose his legs, I can guarantee you that this would anger the entire world, who are, especially for those who are Zelda fans. It's just common sense. Link is perfect the way that he is. I don't need him to be disabled like I am, just to feel more represented in the media. It's already bad enough for me to be disabled alone, because there are unique hardships that I have to endure with it, and being disabled really sucks. Trust me, I've been there, and this is something that I do not wish anyone to have, whether it's a real person or even a fictional character. I said this a lot in my videos before, but Link is the character that I've always looked up to ever since I was a kid, and he's like he's the kind of character that virtually gives me the legs I need to walk on for life, even though I can't really walk in real life at all. Well, besides that, though, he is also there to give me the complete Triforce: power, wisdom, and courage. But really, though, this whole political correctness stuff that Disney has done over the last couple of years now has really drawn the line, and so many people have been hurt by this. The movie theater fight over the Little Mermaid last year is just a perfect example of that. But this is not normal. It is not normal for a movie to make people go to war with each other. It is not normal for a company to ignore its fans and to mock their customers for hating something, especially when they know what they have made for people is definitely not right. And it's also not normal for the level of animosity that Disney itself has created over the last 5 years as of right now, especially for the fact that they have completely weaponized some actors and actresses for their so-called agenda. You, Disney, have the right to do whatever the hell you want. I have the right to do the right thing for myself. And the right thing for me is to not support you anymore and just stick to the classic movies that you have made during the time Walt Disney was alive. This is Major League Gaming, logging out. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you guys later.